Hey guys, it's Nija. Welcome back to my podcast. So I thoroughly enjoyed that last episode. So we're gonna bang out another. How about that? um, so I think in this episode I want to talk about. I don't know about anybody else, and if you can hear like little thudding, pitter pattering, it is currently raining. And I love that energy for us right now. I love a good rain sesh. I'm a Sagittarius, okay? I love thunderstorms, storms in general. I like rain, okay? Anyhow, so I want to talk about how it can feel very exhausting to be human. And I feel like we all feel this way sometimes. Like, being human can be very exhausting, and it sometimes feels like a lot to carry, a lot to manage. And I say this as somebody who, I'm not afraid of hard work when I find it necessary, and when I'm not afraid of hard work when I genuinely want to achieve something and I'm genuinely passionate about something. I love it and I'm here for it. And you know what's kind of weird to me, or just like hard to think about to me? Like, I don't know how our ancestors did it. I don't know how. Like, I just think about like life during times of, and I know like if you're like Black, African American, or whatever, like me, like we come from a long line of people, though history would make us think that our start started with slavery, because history is written by the victor. And so anyhow, I find it like, how did people used to live in times of slavery and have to work and work and work and work and work incessantly? Is that even the word that I want to use? Like, how? I just don't understand how people had the willpower to live in these times. Like, I get it. Like, I think our ancestors were like a different breed of people, because I think about how I am right now, and I would definitely not describe myself as lazy, but I definitely would describe myself as like, I don't know. I feel like this is bad to say. Like, people are not going to want to hear me say this. Like, I don't like, I was going to say I don't like to be inconvenienced, but I don't think that's necessarily what it is. All I'm trying to say is it can be very exhausting. And I'm also thinking about people who like work like corporate jobs, or even like just work jobs that they hate. Like, I don't understand how people have the will to wake up every day and do what they don't want to do. Like, I can really see how you can feel quite stuck here on the earth plane when you are like forced to do things that you don't want to do, or you feel like you're forced to do things that you don't want to do because you have like children and you have like a mortgage, you have obligations and blah blah blah. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's tough out here in this earth realm streets. Even for people who life is not that hard for. Like, I would consider my life to be like pretty easy, right? I wake up, I make my own schedule, I do what I want for the most part. There are some times where I have to, like pick up gigs or pick up shifts and do things that I don't love to do, but I'm willing to do for the sake of like maintaining my lifestyle and livelihood. But like, what really, like, my heart yearns or like hurts for those people who feel trapped in the earth realm. Like, even though they say like we create and we choose the reality and the life that we want to live, but like, as an energetic being, like someone who heavily relies on my senses and on my intuition and how things make me feel, I don't know, man. Like, it can just be very exhausting. Life can be exhausting. Dealing with people can be exhausting. And like, I just have to, first of all, give humans their props, because there's a lot that goes on down here. Things that we physically see, things that we don't physically see, but things that we, like, energetically feel. There's so many veils of illusions, and there's so many, there's so much corruption. There's just a lot. Like, hats off to the humans. And if you're listening to me and you're a human, which I'm assuming you are, like, hats off to you. It is not easy. And even when you have a perceivably easy life, like, again, I would say my life is pretty perceivably easy, sometimes we can still feel energetically unhappy or exhausted, or like, like, you don't feel suicidal, but like you wish you could like check out for like a week and like mentally go on vacation and then like come back when you're well rested. Like, does anyone feel like the monotonous wake up, go to sleep, wake up, go to sleep, wake up, go to sleep? And it's like, I need a break from this reality, but I can't have a break from this reality because bills are constantly due and my family needs me, and whatever the case may be. And so it's like, you never really get a chance to relax. And maybe our ancestors worked so hard, or even like our parents, our grandparents, the people from the previous generations, maybe they worked so hard so that we could relax, right? Maybe life is meant to get easier and easier so we can relax. Maybe, artificial intelligence and AI and robots are picking up all the hard jobs so humans can relax. But then you have to figure out your place in the world, right? I feel like this is like this mission that we're all on here, is to find our place in the world and find our purpose and why we're here, and like, what does it all mean? And I get very like existential sometimes, and I'm like, just like hyper analyzing the world and the way that it is. I feel like when you're like a spiritual being like that, just it comes with the territory. Like, you just so happen to just ponder really hard about things that the average person who is working so hard in their 9-to-5 job, they would never take time to stop and consider, because they can't afford the luxury of thinking. I feel like the Matrix keeps people so busy, and like, I'm throwing the word Matrix around now. It just like keeps people so busy that we really don't have time to think about what's going on, and why are we behaving this way, and why is the world the way that it is, and why are we paying to live, and why. I tell you guys, I get very existential. It can be exhausting. And being human can be exhausting, and I just want to just have a level of compassion and understanding for the humans, because it's not always easy, y'all. It is not. Even for people who have seemingly easy lives, like, again, I would say my life is pretty easy, but sometimes it gets exhausting. And so if you feel that way, if you feel like it's really exhausting right now for you, being human right now is really exhausting, or it just feels like the pressure is really on, and you feel the pressure to perform, and you feel the pressure to be somebody and be somebody great and make your life count, and you know what I mean? I feel like we all feel that way. We all feel that way. We all want to be the best. We all want to make our lives count. We all don't want to disappoint people, disappoint our family and friends, right? Like, it's a lot of balls to keep in the air, okay? So if you're feeling exhausted with being human, I don't want to just like dump all this on you and be like, well, guess you just have to deal with how hard it is to be a human. As they say that it's 11:11. No, I don't want you guys to feel drained and exhausted, and we're going to just leave it at that. I'm going to try to give you guys a few tips on how to make it easier, okay? If you are exhausted by being human right now, here are a few tips to make it a little easier. So the first one is, give yourself permission to fail. this is something I learned from, there's this content creator, Kyle Cease. He used to be a comedian, and I love Kyle Cease. I love Kyle Cease. I love a man with emotional intelligence. And Kyle Cease is a man with very much emotional intelligence. And I just love that. But I was watching his one of his videos the other day. And he said, sometimes you have to give yourself permission to fail. And sometimes you're afraid to fail because life just feels so heavy, right? And there's so many expectations. And you know, you want to be the best and do the best, and you're not always going to be a superhero in someone else's story. Sometimes you are the villain in someone else's story. Not because you're a bad person, but just because that's just their perception. So saying all that to say, you have to give yourself permission to fail. There was one day not too long ago, and I was just so over it. I was over my BS. I was just over the human experience. And again, saying this in a non-morbid way, okay? Like, I enjoy being here. I'm enjoying my human experience, but we all go through these initiations and these phases where we're like, I'm freaking over it. I'm tired of feeling everything that I feel. You know, like, the emotions are too heavy, even if nothing is physically seemingly wrong, but I just energetically feel like this is not it, right? I had to give myself permission to fail. I had to say, you know what, Nija? I give myself permission to fail. I'm allowed to be a failure today. I'm allowed to be a nobody today. I'm allowed to give up today. Because sometimes it just feels like you're always carrying a boulder and you can never put your arms down. You can never put the boulder down. And that is exhausting. And so, again, got this one from Kyle Cease, and he says, give yourself permission to fail. And I love how he explained it in his video. He said, it's okay for me to waste my life. Like, you don't want to, but like, it's okay to waste the day. It's okay if I do not become successful, right? I know it sounds crazy, but it's like learning how to detach from your desires. Like, of course you want to be great. Of course you want to be incredible. Of course you want to be somebody in life. But sometimes the pressure that we put on ourselves to be someone and to perform stops and hinders us from being great, right? It's like you put so much pressure on yourself, you paralyze yourself. Like, the pressure of that boulder that you're carrying is so heavy. Instead of it helping you grow muscles, it crushes you. So, give yourself permission to fail. Doesn't mean that this is going to be how you are forever and always. You're not always going to be a slacker. You're not always going to be mediocre, right? But sometimes, even if it's just for a day, even if it's just for an hour, say, I'm going to be gentle with myself, and I give myself permission to be a nobody today, and it's fine. I love myself unconditionally, whether I complete my to-do list today or not. I love myself unconditionally, whether I make $1 million or not. I love myself unconditionally, whether I grow this business or not. I have to love myself unconditionally because no one else will. No one else has to. It is your responsibility to love yourself unconditionally, because for the foreseeable future, the human experience is not going to get easier. In fact, it might get harder before it gets easier. But I am under the perception that we are crossing that crystalline rainbow bridge to New Earth. I know I sound crazy airy-fairy. One day I was on live. I was on a podcast. I was on live, and I said something about New Earth, and I think it triggered somebody. And in the comments, they were like, oh, and I just said New Earth. I'm out. I'm gonna go. And I'm like, well, goodness, why are you so triggered by the fact that the world is going to change for the better? I don't know. Some people don't like that when I say New Earth. But anyhow, back to some advice on how to cope with being human when it gets exhausting. The next tip is gratitude. Now, this one, I have to get better with this one, because gratitude is such a powerful, magical tool. Gratitude is like a wand that we wield. Okay, gratitude is being grateful for any and everything in your reality, being grateful for your circumstances, being grateful that you ended up on this timeline and not the timeline of your ancestors. Like, can you imagine? Even though, like, reincarnation, right? Like, maybe you did endure or live through those harder times, right? Maybe that's why you feel so exhausted in this lifetime, because you've already experienced past lives as your ancestors where you did have to work super hard. Or you did have to sacrifice your livelihood for your family so that, you know, like, you guys could make it, so that you could survive. Like, maybe you have had past lives where you were in straight up scarcity mode. And that's why in this lifetime you feel so exhausted and you want to be lazy and you want to relax and you want to take it easy, right? Because maybe you have experienced many incarnations of the past where life was really hard. And maybe you got dealt some really a crappy hand of cards, and it needed to happen so that you could evolve as a soul from one perspective. But, you know, maybe that is why you feel so exhausted with yourself. You don't know, because we go through this veil of forgetfulness and incarnating as humans, right? And so maybe that's why you feel so exhausted, and maybe that's why in this lifetime you want to take it easy. But the way that I am learning to self-soothe when I feel these chaotic energies, these heavy energies of life is so hard. Why is it so hard, right? It's gratitude. Acknowledging what is right in your world. Acknowledging what is right in your reality, right? Even if it's as simple as, I'm so over the moon grateful to have the free time to record this podcast right now. I'm over the moon grateful to be able to listen to this podcast right now. I'm over the moon grateful to not have to show up at a job I hate right now, right? Like, I am so over the moon grateful for fresh oxygen and clean water and a roof over my head. And, you know, like, I'm grateful for the steps that I've taken to get me to this moment and point in my life that I'm in right now, right? Whatever you have to be grateful about. I'm grateful to have a car to drive. I'm grateful to have a dog that is freaking awesome and that loves me unconditionally and that I can squeeze and give cuddles to whenever I need a hug. You know, like, that is awesome. I'm grateful to have a mom. I'm grateful to have siblings, right? Any and every reason that you have to be grateful, you must express gratitude, because life gets better when you express gratitude. 100% life gets better when you express gratitude. So I'm finding that what is so important for me when I'm going through these periods of being exhausted by being a human, even when nothing is seemingly wrong in my reality, I have to go back to gratitude. I have to, okay? Let gratitude ground you. Like, for real, let gratitude ground you. And that is a whole word in its own. We'll have to do an entire episode about gratitude, because gratitude is a saving grace, man. When you feel like everything is shit in your world, if you can just find 10 things in that moment to be grateful for, like, vibration instantly lifted, right? Like, I'm ready to take on whatever comes next. Like, come on, universe, bring it on. Come on, God, bring it on, right? So, yes, learn how to anchor yourself with gratitude. Use gratitude to anchor yourself back into your physical body. And the next tip I have for coping with being human, because it can be exhausting, is to make time to rest, okay? Every day, every week, every month, set some time aside to recharge. It is so important. Okay, so here's a little analogy that I thought of. And it is that the runner can sprint extremely hard. Think about a runner, an athlete, right? They can sprint super hard. They can run their hearts out because they know that there is a start and an end to the race, right? They know they will not be sprinting hard forever. There's a start. There is a finish. If I can focus my mind on sprinting hard for this next 5 minutes, for this next 10 minutes, or however long the race is, if I can just wrap my mind about getting to the start line, running to the finish line, and then I can stop, I can do it, right? But the thing we do as humans is we don't allow ourselves to have a start and end to the race. We just want to sprint our entire lives. We are humans. We are cyclical beings. You have to take time to rest. Okay? Burnout is a real thing. Okay? So as superhuman as we want to be, it is important for us to take time to recharge, because again, like that athlete, though they might be the best runner on the planet, they can't run forever. You have to stop and rest your body. Okay? So imagine if the runner was expected to keep running and running forever. They would be burned out. So self-care is allowing yourself the time that you need to rest. It's important and you deserve it, because being a human is going to be super exhausting. Okay? How you cope with it is scheduling time to rest and relax. It's so important. So many people will rob themselves of the opportunity to rest and relax because we're so ambitious, right? Because we want to impress the world with how awesome we're going to be, impress our friends with how dope our stuff is, how much money we have. And it's like, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know if I could enjoy having all the money in the world without the leisure time to appreciate it. So I don't know, that's my 2 cents. I have 2 more tips on how to cope with being human, because it can be exhausting. Okay, so the next tip I have is to give yourself something to look forward to. Okay, this is something that you're looking forward to achieving, like a goal that you have or a dream that you have. Okay, maybe it's a cheat meal. It could be as simple as that, right? Like, can you imagine if you put yourself on a diet and you're like, I'm only gonna eat greens and spinach for the rest of my life? Like, that could be very boring, but giving yourself something to look forward to, like a cheat meal, might make it easier to stick to your diet or stick to your regimen or stick to whatever it is that you're going after in life. Because again, it goes back to that, like, needing time to rest. If it's always work and no play, that will burn you out. So you want to give yourself something to look forward to, whether it's achieving a goal or achieving a dream. And sometimes even having goals and dreams can be exhausting. It's like, do you ever escape the exhaustion of being human? Like, if you have a goal, it can be exhausting. And if you have a dream, it can be exhausting. Like, if you have friends, that could be exhausting. Like, oh my goodness. When does it end? But anyway, I'm being a little bit satirical in this episode, but I really do feel this way sometimes, right? So we all need something to look forward to. We need something positive to live for, okay? So that life seems like it's worth it. So every day you got to find your why, and that's important. Every day you have to find your why. Otherwise, it does feel like you're waking up a hamster on the wheel, just spinning, because you have to, right? Because you can't check out. And sometimes in life, being human, like, you just wish, like, what if there was a way for you to, like, take off the virtual reality goggles that is life, rest up your soul or rest up your avatar, and then put your VR glasses back on when you're ready to step back into the human role? Like, what if that was a thing and you really did get a chance to relax? I feel like a lot of people would not check back in. They'd be like, I'm gonna just rest forever. But resting forever can cause stagnancy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The last tip I have for if you feel exhausted with being a human and how to cope with it, and the last tip is that you need an outlet. Okay, you need someone you can talk to. You need a journal that you can check in with yourself. You need prayer. Sometimes can be very helpful. You can host a meeting with your angels, guides, and helpers. I do this quite often. You can see a therapist. Okay, life is hard for all of us. It's hard for everybody. Y'all, life is hard for everybody. Even people who look like they have the easiest life is hard for them too. You don't see what goes on behind closed doors. Like, maybe physically everything is okay in their life, but maybe they battle with a lot of mental things. Like, you know, maybe people are struggling mentally. Maybe people are struggling emotionally. Okay? So you just don't know. And that's why we have to be so gentle with ourselves. And we have to be so gentle with each other. We have to. We have to, okay? So my last tip is to have an outlet. Have a friend you can talk to. And if you don't feel safe talking to somebody, maybe get a therapist. And if you can't afford therapy, buy a journal, okay? Like, seriously, you have to get it out. You have to get it out. You have to get it out. You can't let this energy be trapped within yourself. It has to get out. Everyone needs an outlet, okay? So don't neglect yourself. Be there for yourself. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. And it's all about creating a gentle parenting environment for yourself, even as the adult. Even as an adult, you still have to parent yourself, right? Because who's going to do it for you? It's no one's responsibility to make sure that you're in a happy homeostasis place always, right? Like, it's your responsibility. You are your responsibility, right? And your angels, guides, and helpers, they got your back, right? But for the most part, like, you run the show. You asked to be here. And I even hate when people say that sometimes, like, you ask for these struggles that you're enduring. You asked to be in an abusive relationship. You asked for this divorce. You asked for this. You asked for him to cheat on you, and you asked for your friend to backstab you, and you asked for it. You asked for it, and that is why you're experiencing it. It's like, my goodness, why would I ever ask for this for myself? You asked to get cancer, and that's why you're experiencing it. It's like, oh my God, like, should we be telling people this? Like, I get it from a perspective, like, yeah, we sign up for lessons so that we can evolve as a soul, but nobody wants to hear, in the midst of getting their leg amputated, that, oh, by the way, this is happening because your higher self asked for this experience. It's like, F you. F you, and F your ideology, because I didn't ask for this, right? But again, it's going back to just having so much love and so much compassion for yourself, and having compassion for other people, and not judging yourself for undergoing hardship. Like, it gets real messy on the earth plane, okay? And if you don't think it gets real messy, like, just look at what we're up against, like world wars and human trafficking and child sex trafficking. Like, what is going on here? Earth is a hot mess sometimes, y'all. I know you see it, but we're here for a reason, and we're serving our purpose, and we're doing our best. We're doing our darndest, okay? And man, I hope this conversation wasn't too dark or heavy. I was trying to keep it light and kind of be playful with it, but I mean, the pressure is real, okay? So don't think you're alone in feeling it. We all feel it. We all feel it in different ways, and it might seem like someone's life is perfect, but like, you know, like, mentally there could be a lot of turmoil. So be gentle with yourself. That is the moral of the story. If you're exhausted with being human, be gentle with yourself. That's all you can do, honestly and truly. And be gentle with other people. And yeah, that's what I have to say today. So those are my tips on how to cope with being human. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it was insightful. This is the Create Yourself podcast. So I'm all about, you know, creating a life that you love, creating the version of yourself that you want to be. And it does come with acknowledging the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And it is what it is. And we're here. And we're doing it. And so there is no checking out, okay? We have to stay on the mission until the mission is complete. And you will know your mission is complete when Source no longer needs you to be here, right? So don't try and speed up the lessons, and don't try to check out. Like, yeah, it's heavy and there's some ish happening on the planet, but we're here for it, right? And apparently we asked for it, so let's do it. Yay! Everybody put your hands in the middle. 1, 2, 3, go team! I'm being playful, and this episode's running on, so I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. My name is Nija Sym, and keep creating yourself. I will see you in the next one. Bye.